Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to another episode of the Carrot Juice Podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support. I'm going to keep this content coming. If you are watching this on YouTube, which I highly recommend because we have a deep and important conversation for you guys today, make sure that you like the video for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps out. And I'm not going to even ask you to subscribe yet. If you enjoy the content and you want more content like this, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so anytime I post, you get an update. So if you already don't know who I am, my name is Monte Lee. I am the host of this podcast here. Here at Carrot Juice, we have conversations about a lot of topics, anything that's going on that I find interesting in popular culture. We talk about finances. We talk about personal development. We talk about ratchetness that's happening in the world today. And we also talk about important things when it comes to the community and making sure that we protect people who don't have a voice. And today is a very important conversation. You guys saw that title. You saw the thumbnail if you're watching this on YouTube. We are talking about the controversy revolving around Glendon Cameron, okay? So a little preface to this. I don't know much about this man. I never heard about him until this story came out. And he recently had a conversation with none other than the lead attorney on his platform. And you should check out the lead attorney on YouTube. You should check out Anton on YouTube. And if you want, you could check out Glendon Cameron on YouTube as well. But the lead attorney had these two gentlemen on, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. I'm going to start with giving you a little preface on who Glendon Cameron is from what I found when I went onto the internet here shortly. And I'm just going to give a brief rundown according to what it was shown on Wikipedia. So this is Glendon Cameron right here in the top left. According to this link that I found here, because apparently he's an author, Glendon Cameron is an author, YouTuber, and entrepreneur with over 17 years of experience ranging from business development, digital marketing, outside sales, and being a founder. For the last 7 years, he has educated and entertained a growing following on his YouTube channel, Hustlers Kung Fu, with over 1,400 videos, with a heavy concentration of how to make money online. So that's a brief synopsis of Glendon Cameron. I also want to give you guys an idea of who Anton is. If you're familiar with YouTube, you know who he is. He's another millionaire. And Anton this is his background here. So Anton Daniels has a net worth of about $2.1 million as of 2021. He is an American YouTuber. He uploads lifestyle related videos. Today in this article, you can know what his net worth is. It goes on. So he is a YouTuber. He talks about finances, about money, about self-development. He's a very influential person. And he's been married for, I believe, over 20 years. He is very conservative. He talks about traditional values and morality. So that's a bit of a background behind Anton Daniels. Okay. So why am I bringing up these two gentlemen? Because like I said before, they had a conversation on the lead attorney when they spoke about Glendon's recent video regarding his dealings with young women. Now, I did not watch that video yet, and I'm not going to play it here on my YouTube channel because apparently it's very salacious and he gets into some vulgarities there, and I did not want to have that on my platform. However, the gist of it is Glendon said that he had sexual relations with a 17-year-old girl, and He also stated that he had text conversations with a 15-year-old, and they exchanged messages back and forth. She sent him nude photos, and then after the fact, once he found out her age, he deleted the information. There's more in there in that video, but that's the gist of what I got. So that's the preface to this conversation. In this conversation, Anton is from a converging point of view, then Glendon, and the lead attorney is moderating. Okay. I'm going to give my thoughts on the situation, but I am going to be reacting to this conversation because there is a lot here, and I have a lot to say about what we can do to protect the innocent moving forward from people who are getting by and getting away with manipulating the system and harming innocent people, especially innocent young women. Okay? So that's the preface to this conversation. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to drop the link to this video in the description, and you guys can see it in its entirety for yourself. I'm just going to be playing the conversation between the two millionaires here, Glendon Cameron, who's on the left, and Anton Daniels, who's on your right. So let's get into this and let this play.
Much, guys, for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. Hope kind of get some some common ground. I don't know if that's possible because you guys seem to be on the extreme of a lot of different angles, right? But I want us to talk to see kind of what happened and kind of where we are, and to clear up a lot of misunderstandings. I know I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, Glendon's having sex with 15-year-olds, right? And to be fair, that is not what you said, Glendon, in the videos, right?
I thank you for saying that, because I've been seeing that quite a bit. I've been seeing that extrapolation. And also, I want to say, I love your content, and I thank you for sending me this invite, because I've been seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I want to go ahead and clarify why there are so many people rocking with me, because people are mad at the folks who are supporting me. In this, I don't know when you joined YouTube, but years ago, I had 3 male channels called Disruptive Male, where I was talking about male content and these type of explicit stuff. And a lot of people loved them. And then, I got a little carried away, and I was like, you know what? I'm not actually giving the guys the stuff that they need. So I deleted the channels. So there are people who are very familiar with me in the manosphere. And this is why Alan Roger Curry, this is why Edward Anderson, this is why people are rocking with me, because I put this content out for years, and this never was part of it. This was a part of a strategy which many people will disagree with me, I think is working very fine, to launch the new male channel, The Lost Kings, because I want to separate myself from other male content creators. And,
right, so let me, not to interrupt you, but so you're saying that the video that you put out first when you were in your car, that was part of a strategy to launch your channel?
Yes, it's a month old. Okay. And part of this is like, one of the big things is with YouTube, shock and awe works. And actually, I am really surprised that the blowback wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest with you, and it really wasn't. And people have been saying all kinds of stuff like my age, and this stuff happened like 20 years ago. This is what's funny. People act like I was at some high school with lollipops and soda pops seducing young girls. And that wasn't the case at all. But these things did happen, but the ages, because like, I don't know if you got that thing I sent you earlier. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, because I don't know if you were in your show. But I used to do something called Craigslist protocols. And I'll explain all that. I used to have a business called the Upscale Garage Sale, and I used to use Craigslist for advertising. And I noticed I would have NBA players. I had really hot chicks coming in from my Craigslist ads. And at the time, Craigslist had a section called a dating section. And I started writing content for these ads. And in the beginning, it was horrible because I wasn't getting any results. But I stuck with it, and I stuck with it, and I stuck with it, and I kind of tapped into something. And I would get responses.
I'll be right back, Lee.
From,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, keep going. I'll be right back.
I would get responses from high school girls every day. And this is the thing, and this is what's funny. 99.9% of them I ignored because, you know, the average high school girl looks like a high school girl. A lot of them are not developed. A lot of them don't look like women. So I had no interest in them.
Let me just jump in right quick. What was the text of these ads? What did they say?
This is when, if you
and
know,
I'm just going to say here, the lead attorney makes great questions.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of toyed around with the content marketing, and what I found was long form ads worked really, really well. And it was just talking about what I would do, what was on the table, the activities. I'm not going to get explicit on your show, but I spelled out in detail what I would do and what I would not do. And a lot of women started responding, like 10, 15 a day, 7 days a week. And part of that
was, okay. So was this these were ads for sexual activity? Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
And was compensation included, or why would women respond to a ad, just a random ad?
Great question. Great question. What I tapped into was the female submission story. There was no competition. There was no compensation. There was no dating. They would strictly just show up in my place and have sex. And this went on for about 10 years. I start tamping it down. Let's say 15 years, but 10 years hard. And then 15 years, I kind of backed away from a lot of that stuff.
My question, just from like where we are so far with this situation, is why is this guy sharing all of this information from the get-go? What is his end goal? What is he trying to do? He's already successful. He has a lot of money. Why is he sharing this information from his past so nonchalantly? Why is he so emboldened to just be able to speak about this information, which is already pretty damning? I'm gonna listen to some more of it, but it's very strange that he has so much confidence that he's on YouTube here in America, clearly stating that he was. I'm not gonna get too far into it. Let's listen to some more.
But that was the gist of it. I mean, it literally changed my life. And I thought the launching of the Lost Kings, because, you know, I started making content about a month ago, and I was like, I have been the target of so many YouTube hate campaigns, and none of them been anything that I've done. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw some raw meat out there for the dogs, because I've seen, you know, like, I've been reading the comments and stuff, and, you know, people want me buried under the jail, and people want me, you know, and I think you did a real good job saying that ain't nothing going to happen to me, because number one, this isn't current activity. And number two, when it was happening, it was never illegal. I never had sex with a 15-year-old girl. I never even had sex with a 16-year-old girl. But part of the thing is, I know y'all may disagree with me, but I feel that the social media experiment worked really well. And because I'm getting more and more subscribers, I'm having all kind of content creators making crazy videos. Some people can't even pronounce my name. It's wild. And I feel that this is,
and it's strange. He's talking about subscribers at a situation like this.
Go on to the end of October, but I don't think it's going to go on that long. I don't really think it's going to go on that long.
What's the experiment part?
Yeah, Anton, why don't you give us kind of your initial view on this, your initial take?
I will answer the experiment was the actual video. YouTubers are known for faking stuff and putting out stuff that isn't real. This has been YouTube since YouTube started. So I went ahead and I put up a video that was talking about some very saucy stuff, and it started performing, and then I feel that your video helped propel it. The video isn't going to go viral. I already can tell that. It's at like 5,400 views. And part of it is to set the brand and to build a community the way that I want to build a community. I don't want weak, let me say it. I want people who will be committed to personal change. And if I can put up a video like that and I can get subscribers, I'm getting the right kind of subscribers. I'm getting the right kind of people that I want. And
let's stop him right there. Did you guys just hear what he just said? He put up a video talking about exploits that he had with an underage girl. And he called it an experiment, and he's talking about how he wanted to get the right people in his community. What does that sound like to you guys? What does that sound like to you? I'll give you your chance to form your own opinion. He's doing this right in the open on YouTube. I put out the video as an experiment because I wanted to get some traction and get some exposure, in so many words, to get the right community. What does that sound like to you? You can't be serious right now. What are we even talking about here? This guy, the amount of money that he's had has allowed him to get very comfortable with what he's been doing in this world and online. And he has some business savvy, obviously. But this ain't, you know what we talk about here on Carrot Juice Podcast. He ain't got no common sense. He ain't got no common sense if he's live on YouTube talking about this. But hey, I'm glad he's talking about this because he's exposing himself. He is clearly exposing himself. But let's continue with the content here. I just wanted to interject.
About a day after I put it up, I was like, Anton's going to make a live stream of this. And you sure did. I knew that was coming.
So you capping so hard. You capping so hard, bro. You did not play chess and thinking that I was going to make a video of you. All right, Lee. So this is really what's going on. Okay. You know, and I'm glad that he right here because you know me, I like to say stuff straight to people's face. The thing that really happened was he was clout chasing. Number one, right? He been clout chasing since the very, very beginning of me even noticing who he is. He's tagging me in videos. Oh, Anton,
I tagged you in one video.
He's tagging me in videos. He's reaching out or whatever because I'm hot. I'm hotter than fish grease, and it just is what it is. And everybody know I'm hot, right? So he's tagging me in videos.
I did not reach out.
I didn't interrupt you at one time.
Yeah,
I didn't interrupt him one time.
Yeah,
I want to reach through the screen and just grab that ugly, stupid big lips that he got. But I ain't interrupting one time, bro.
You're right. You're right that you didn't interrupt him. So he didn't interrupt you, Glendon. So let him talk. And then you can. I'm going to give you a chance to respond, of course, right? But yeah, go ahead, Anton.
So he tagging me in videos. I don't even know who this guy is, not even a little bit, right? I don't even know how he know me. I've been on YouTube for over 8 years. Apparently, he's been on for even longer. Cool, whatever. He in his section, I'm in my section, right? So he tagging me in videos. So as usual, when people tag me in videos, I go and see what it is that they talking about. I don't disagree with what he's saying from a business perspective, right? He doing reactions. Cool. I don't care. We all content creators. We all rock out. It is what it is, right? So then I do some research And I don't necessarily agree with the way in which he go about living his life, but I didn't see anything crazy. And so my thing was I made a reaction video actually bigging him up, saying that, yo, I actually agree with him from a business perspective. And I don't argue with millionaires, right? He's a millionaire. I take his word for it, whatever. And I didn't do extensive research, but clearly he knows business, right? I'm objective in that. I'm able to separate the person from the content. You know what I'm saying? The sin from the sinner, whatever, figuratively speaking. So I'm like, okay, cool. He dope. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's talking about from a business perspective. I actually align with some of the things that he's saying. It is what it is, right? And I said, okay, so I'm gonna reach out to this guy because he had actually did some more reaction, or he mentioned me in some other stuff. He replied to the video where I got my corporate executive position and all of that other type of stuff, right? And so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna reach out to him. But something just kept coming up every single time I went to go reach out to him. So, and this is the God's honest truth. So I'm praying, 2 days ago, something like that. I get up, I tell people what my routine is. I get up, I pray, meditate, talk to God, whatever, so on and so forth. And I go to reach out to him and I look in my inbox and I see a thing with a message that says Glendon Cameron at the top of it. And so I'm like, this must be a representative of his or whatever, but I was just going to reach out to him this morning. And so they sent me the video. And so I could go and check out the video and I see it. And so the thing about it that I'm trying to make sense in my mind is how is it a social media experiment when you in the second video, first of all, it's coming out of your mouth. One of the things that he said in his reaction video is if I was Anton, or what Anton should have did was reach out to me and say, is it true? It's coming out of your mouth. If it was somebody that was accusing you of it, or it was an allegation, that's one thing. But if you're the one that's saying it and admitting to it and championing it and going to it in great detail, why wouldn't I assume that you're telling the truth? You see what I'm saying? So that's A. B, why would I even want to clout chase like that? Why would I want that type of attention? With great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
And if we're supposed to use our platform to empower people, because one of the things and one of the reasons why I was reaching out to him to rock with him is because he was actually helping people from a business perspective. And that's who I align with. If I'm reaching out because you actually pouring into people, right? And he's watched my video. He knows that I rock with character, that I don't do business with everybody. I've always said that I only rock with people based off of I only do business with people based off of having good character along with it. I've literally divested myself from looking at even race as a factor. It's only based off of good character. He says it out of his own mouth. In his follow-up video, he says it's true. He also admits to receiving pictures from a 15-year-old, right?
Let's go point by point, because I don't want to overwhelm you know, but I see what you're saying. And to Glendon, to be honest, I had questions about the experiment thing too. You know, it seems to me that people run experiments to find out knowledge, right? That's the purpose of an experiment. You have a question and you're trying to find an answer. And so, you know, you run an experiment on gravity, let's say, but once you figure out how gravity works, you kind of move on. None of us need to run experiments on, you know, if you drop a tennis ball, is it going to hit the ground? And so what was weird to me is that you were saying, on the one hand, that you were running experiments to kind of see what would happen. But it seems to me that the knowledge was already there. Now, let's just kind of break it down. You can say, well, I'm running experiments on one of two things, or maybe both. I'm running an experiment on how Anton will react, and I'm running an experiment on what will happen with the algorithm.
All right.
But let me just finish, and I want you to I want to hear your response. If you're running an experiment on how Anton will react, to me that doesn't make sense at all, because everyone knows that based on your first video, Anton's going to flip, right? If you run an experiment on how the lead attorney is going to react, that's a question, right? Or if you run an experiment on how, you know, Edward Anderson is going to react, that's a question. But everyone knows from the stance that Anton takes regarding righteousness, regarding religion, regarding premarital sex, right? Regarding even courting. Everyone knows that this, if anybody's going to flip, it's going to be Anton. Like, there was no reason to run an experiment on that, because everyone knows how he was going to react. And you said it multiple times in the second video that you knew how he was going to react. So there's no reason to run. And we all know that Anton is not going to accept anything really in that first video. If anybody's not going to accept it, it's going to be him. So you say, well, okay, I wasn't running the experiment on Anton because I already knew he was going to flip. I'm running an experiment to see what's going to happen on, you know, how the algorithm is going to react, right? But then again, you know, if I run that experiment, I can run it because I had 1,000 subscribers in January, right? So I've got a few more now, but my trajectory on YouTube has not been that long. There are things that I'm still learning about YouTube. Mm-hmm. You, though, you've been on YouTube, I think you said 12 years. So there is no one who knows more about how what your video is going to cause more than you. Like, it's not an experiment if you know what's going to happen at the end of the experiment. Do you see what I'm saying? So I didn't. Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
I just didn't see a.
Okay, no, I understand. First of all, I did not run an experiment on Anton. That was just like, after I dropped the video, I was like, because I was seeing how the moves Anton was making, I was like, he's going to do a reaction video on that. And there was no experiment with.
Listen, guys. I'm going to let this continue to play. This is going to be a longer episode than I usually do, but I think this conversation is important because it's important for people who are stand-up men, stand-up citizens of society, to call out when people are not in the best interest of the community. And I'm going to let this play and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. And I think this is an important conversation because I have sisters, I have a mom, I have females in my life who I really care about. And I don't want to see anyone crossing paths with someone with the mentality like this guy Glendon here. So we're going to let this play and we're going to react to it and we're going to get some value out of this conversation because I think it's important. If you guys don't already know what I do, I have a background. I have a social work degree. I also have a minor in communications. And I currently am a probation officer. So I'm familiar with the law. I supervise people. And I am familiar with people who perpetrate, people who abuse people. And from my perspective, it is very important to call out and to speak about things that are a danger to the community. And that's what I'm doing here on this platform and in this instance. We have our fun, so we whip-de-whoop. We talk about all different types of things going on in the world. We talk about female nature. We talk about personal development and growing and developing as a person. But if you can't call out when somebody is dead wrong in a situation, then you're a hypocrite. And I want people to hold me accountable if I'm not doing things correctly as well. So we're going to keep this conversation going. I just wanted to interject here and we'll keep with it.
Okay.
You know, that was just part of the mix. And actually, Anton's video elevated that video. And also, this whole thing is like, YouTube is really, really crazy. You can put out a video and you can have an assumption how it's going to perform. But until you put that video out, you don't know how it's going to perform. And like I said, I've had people do 4-hour live streams about me, talking about me. And I was like, you know, I'm going to try something a little risque. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see. And the first few days, it really was nothing. I said, okay, this is going to die. And then it started. Anton did his video, and then a whole bunch of other people did their videos. And the video is not going to go viral. It's not going to happen. And so I would consider it a static experiment. It's not like super successful because honestly,
Really,
I thought there
nigga?
was going to be more blowback. I thought there was going to be more anger. I thought there was going to be more people with pitchforks coming after me. And actually, I feel that this is pretty much going to die out by next Friday because that's the way it's trending. So
Really, nigga?
that was one experiment, because one of the things I wanted to do with this new male content is just separate myself from everyone else, because there's a lot of male content channels out there. And I learned my
So let me
lesson.
just not to interrupt you, but just to be clear,
He wants
you're
to
saying that
separate
you didn't
himself
know
from
what
what?
would happen
What
if
is he
you
trying to
released a
separate
video
himself from?
as
That's what I need to
sensational
know.
As the video that you released.
That's
You've been
what
on
I need to
YouTube
know. What
12
are you
years,
trying
but
to
you're saying
separate
you didn't
yourself
know
from?
what would happen, or you didn't know if you would get more views?
What are you trying to separate yourself from?
Yeah, because like I said, I put out videos that shocked me that did 100,000 views. And once again, like I said, my hopes was it would be more inflammatory, and it wasn't. So that's what I mean, because I was hoping that I knew it would be. Once again, I'm not surprised by the blowback. I'm not surprised by the responses, but I felt that there would be even bigger blowback. I felt
Why
there
are
would
you
be
worried
even
about views in a
larger
situation like
response,
this
and
when
that didn't
people
happen.
are
So that's why I said I ran an experiment. Yes, I had a
Rightfully
feeling that this
so.
would get people upset,
alleging
people
that
would be
you
mad,
are a
and
predator?
people, it's
And he's worried
polarizing.
about
It's a very
YouTube views?
polarizing video. But
Yes.
I did not know to what extent it would go. And once again, it's not performing like I thought it would. And this is.
But why would you even want to do a video with me if you know who I am? If you know what I stand on, and you know what my morals and my character is, and you know how I move, why would you even be looking to do content with me in the first place?
Okay. First of all, I tagged you in one video. I did not reach out to you ever. I've not reached out to you ever. And also, that's a really good question, because you have a brand, and your brand is the antithesis of my brand. So there was not going to be any collaboration. I didn't reach out to you. I wasn't planning on reaching out to you.
So you've been capping in all of these videos up to this point. You literally kept saying, "Oh, you know what? I got to reach out to Anton. I think we're going to do something together." Because you've said that in multiple videos after you tagged me in the video.
I tagged you once, and yes, I did say that. And then later on, I changed my mind, and I stopped doing that.
Oh my God, bro.
All right,
Seriously,
let me ask you-
Glendon? Hold on, Lee. Hold on, Lee. Seriously, Glendon? I mean, are we gonna be real? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna be 100? You're not gonna say you was looking for clout, because in that video that you tagged me, you didn't just tag me. You tagged the lead attorney. You tagged a whole bunch of people. You was clout chasing. You was looking for more visibility from people that was hot at the time, and you was reaching.
Once again, I did tag you. I did tag the elite attorney. I tagged a few other people. And I was like, this ain't really working. And I stopped doing it. Have I tagged you in the video recently? No, I haven't.
Now let me ask
You just did a whole reaction video on me.
Because you did a
Not
video
this-
about
no,
me.
no. Not on this one. When I got the corporate executive position, you did a whole reaction video on me. The whole video was about me. What are you talking about?
That is true.
I did that video. And once again, my feelings changed.
Seriously, do you see why I say I have to pick and choose who I do business with, bro? Because it ain't even just about whether or not we ain't even got to the thick of this, right? Because it was some bad stuff in that video. We ain't even got to the thick of it on the real. But do you see why I say I have to vet people? Because he not even being honest in his clout chasing. Like, he not being honest in him reaching out. He not being honest in everything that he's doing. It's all cloaked in some kind of deviant behavior or some kind of underhanded move that he's trying to move. And I don't rock with these type of people, bro. I preach it on a regular basis that you gotta be careful who you do business with, because everybody that get money, his ability to get money, his talent don't necessarily align with good character, bro.
Right.
It's so unfortunate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lead, I'm just trying to be as respectful as possible to you.
And I appreciate that.
Absolutely, guys. I am rocking 100% with what Anton is saying here. We're going to keep going on and let Glendon speak for himself. However, this guy is tap dancing. He's calling what he was talking about in that video, talking about having sex with a 17-year-old girl, talking about getting suggestive pictures and messages from a 15-year-old, and he's calling it an experiment. An experiment? Are you serious? So he's saying that he did all of this to get exposure for a channel and a community that he's trying to cultivate. What does that guy sound to you? So what does that sound like to you guys? This is not a game. I understand this is YouTube. I understand this is content. But there's a deeper underlying issue that we need to unravel here that's going on with people of influence. And we're not going to continue to allow it, because if we sit idly by and let people like this man here get away with things like this and just continue to engage in this type of behavior, then we're no better than him, in my opinion. So I'm going to call this stuff to light, and I'm going to speak into light, and I'm rocking with Anton here with what he's saying. It's like, what are we really talking about here, man? And they haven't even gotten to the thick of the conversation yet. We'll keep going on with the video.
I appreciate both of y'all being so patient. I really do. And let me ask you this, Glendon, because this kind of comes up too, and Anton is hinting at it as well. This whole, we'll call it an experiment in making a very polarizing video. You have, I mean, to me, you have great, excellent content when it comes to business. And I can hear it. Now, you say stuff that I don't know all the time in your videos. Now, I'm not a businessman, right? But when I listen to your content, when I listen to Anton's content, I really learn. Also, you know, I could easily look up to you as a content creator because you have 100,000 subscribers. That's hard to get. And you might not know, but I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of our boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. You know, we all rock with O'Shea, right? Yeah. And O'Shea put me on, and he set an example for me of helping other people come up. And so I've started, you know, helping other people with their YouTube channels. Do you think like this is the best way to grow a channel? Like, why would you choose this way to launch your channel, to do such a polarizing way involving children? Why do you think that was a good way for all the young? We have a lot of young content creators in the chat who look up to both of you. Both of y'all are extremely strong YouTubers. Like, why is it this way involving children and kids? Why is it like this?
Once again, this is, you are relatively new to YouTube and you haven't seen the old content. This isn't a radical departure from my older content. The only thing that was different was I dropped ages, and I've never done that before. I've put out that type of content on YouTube for 10 years. So this isn't a radical departure from what I'm doing. I just threw a little extra wrinkle in it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not asking. You're saying this isn't any change from what I've done in the past.
How is this guy
and I'm not
allowed
saying
to talk about stuff like this for 10 years?
It's not a change. I'm not talking about change at all. I'm talking about why do it like this.
And I'm pro free speech, but come on, guys.
Involving polarizing issue with children.
I just chose that topic. I just chose it. And
what?
You know, we will see about 6 months from now, was it really a bad decision or was it a good decision? So we will see. And
how do you determine what's bad or good?
How the channel performs.
Is it
how
so
the
you
channel
only care
performs.
about the numbers? You literally only care about the channel numbers, the money, the whatever. The only thing that you determine whether it was bad or good. What about the impact? What about the fact you literally just gave a blueprint to predators?
Absolutely.
You gave the predator blueprint. Yo, if they got good parents, you want to stay away from them. All of this other stuff that you said, none of that matters.
That wasn't a predator blueprint. That wasn't a predator blueprint. Because one of the things that I was doing, and like I said, you know, we will see in the future, will this have a deep impact? And that's a good point that you made about impact. Because Disruptive Male had a serious impact, and I want to duplicate that with this new channel, but I want to separate myself from the other content creators.
Are you guys hearing this guy right now?
You think, you know, once again, you think that's bad, and that's your opinion. I'm not going to have any truck with that. But once again, I have built because Disruptive Male was doing really well, and then
and he's just promoting the channel right now. He just keeps promoting the channel.
And then I realized that I had built the channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that both of you probably will find out if you don't already know it. How you build your channel is how you draw your audience. And I had built
we don't care about the channel. I'm talking about the information that you put out. Really, why would you tell somebody if they have good parents and stay away from them?
One of the chicks I was dealing with was what's it called, an emancipated teen. And she made her own decisions. What I was saying was, if you're dealing with someone who's still very childlike in the mind, you probably don't want to mess with them. Because, like, I don't know if you got what I sent you. And, you know, if you didn't, I'm not going to worry about it. But one of the things that
I did get it. It was very long, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. A girl in high school sent me that. And one of the big things that happened in that video was the lack of assignment of culpability to people for making decisions. And once again, I know y'all are going to disagree with me, and I'm going to say it anyway. All 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are not the same. There are some that are very childish, really still immature, and there are some who are damn near predators. And
oh my God. Oh my Lord. We got to rewind that and see what the hell this guy just said. Hold on.
One of the things that
I did get it. It was very long, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. A girl in high school sent me that. And one of the big things that happened in that video was the lack of assignment of culpability to people for making decisions. And once again, I know y'all are going to disagree with me, and I'm going to say it anyway. All 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are not the same. There are some that are very childish, really still immature, and there are some who are damn near predators. And one of the things...
The children are predators?
Yes, some of them are.
But you said that you wouldn't consider your behavior or R. Kelly's behavior predator behavior.
Well, if you look at the title of the video, I could have been a predator.
I looked at what you said. You said that you would not consider that predator behavior.
I'm talking.
This guy
could have been a predator, and I will give you the, like, I had girls in high school sending me dirty, explicit pictures, all this other stuff, and I would just delete them. I could have easily been a predator if that was my orientation.
Let's talk about this for a second, because you mentioned that there was
this guy
15 in your first video. You mentioned that, and you changed it in the second video. So I'm going to get there. But in the first video, you said that there was a 15-year-old. You said, quote, "We were just talking and stuff. I just talked to her. She'd send me dirty pictures. She was running, 100 miles an hour." Right. Then in the second video, you said, well, because now I think we can all agree that's a crime in Georgia, guys. That's actually a crime.
I actually never met her. I never chatted. I mean, we talked because I didn't know she was 15 until a little later, and that was one of the issues.
Yeah. So we talked. Let me just jump in. What I'm telling you is, if you're talking and getting nudes from a 15-year-old,
absolutely,
that is a crime in Georgia. That's
100%, 100%.
Yes, it is.
It's a felony grade crime, and it goes from 5 to 20, right? 5 years to 20 years.
And once I found out she was 15, I stopped talking to her and I deleted the pictures.
Gotcha. All right, but still, even if you don't know.
I know. A lot of men have gotten caught up because they were talking to a girl. They didn't know how old she was, and the law don't care. The law doesn't care. Right. And I was like, "You're 15." She says, "But I'll be 16, I think, in May." And I was like, "That doesn't matter. You're 15 now. I can't keep talking to you." And
what are you doing talking? What? Hold on. What the hell are you doing talking to a 15-year-old anyway? Why are you? What conversation can you have with somebody that's 15? What is going on? This guy's a millionaire. He's in his 50s. He's talking about this live on YouTube. Who in the world is defending this man and saying that this is okay? No way, no how. I do not support this Glendon Cameron mentality, whatever he has going on. No way, no how. People like this need to be called out, and I'm thankful that Anton is staying on his horse and the lead attorney is questioning him and trying to moderate. But no man in his right mind, no person in their right mind can support this type of behavior from this guy. This guy is definitely exhibiting predatory behavior 100%, and he's doing it live on YouTube. What the heck are we talking about here? He called 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds that they could be predators. He 50. Make that make sense. We're going to continue with it because it gets, believe me or not, guys, it gets worse from here.
Now I'm confused because you're saying, well, when you found out she was 15, then you deleted the pictures and you stopped talking to her. But you said in the second video that she actually wasn't 15. You said that she was 16 and you just lowered the number to make it more polarizing.
Well, I lowered the numbers of the girls and her mother, and not that one, because there were many girls. So not that one in particular. But
in the hell?
This happened all of the time. I would be talking to a girl and I would find out how old she was, and I was like, okay. And it was a policy. I would just go ahead, block their email, delete their pictures, and keep it moving. This happened a lot.
So the 15-year-old that you talked about in the first video, she actually was 15. But when you found out she was 15, then you stopped talking to her and deleted the videos?
Well, I didn't have videos, just pictures.
I'm sorry. You're exactly right. Deleted the pictures?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Anton?
I think it's nasty. It's so
100%.
nasty,
What
man.
the
And I think
hell
maybe
is
it's,
going on
you know,
with this guy?
the ironic thing that I'm trying to figure out, because I say this regularly. I say I need to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry, right? I'm a reflection of the thing that I would want my daughter to marry. And I've heard Glendon admittedly say that he has a daughter. And so I'm so confused because TLA, one of the things that you said in this show was that, you know, one of your blind spots or handicaps, so to speak, figuratively speaking, was that you don't have kids, right? So you don't understand what it means to truly love and be passionate about the well-being. You know, sons are different. They rough and tumble. You want them to go through stuff or whatever, so on and so forth. I had a young man that I almost adopted. That was my nephew that lived with me. And I wanted to push him. I wanted to go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But daughters out of your own, that's yours. And then you can sit here and justify the idea that you was sitting there in grave detail talking about it ain't nothing like going with a young girl and she's 17 and I did her about 15 times. And even after she told me she was 17, I kept doing it to her, but you was a lot more graphic and all of this stuff. You have a daughter, bro. That don't bother you? Like, even outside of the law, outside of what was, because slavery was once legal. They don't mean that it was right. We're talking about morals and ethics and character. That don't bother you, bro? Honestly, that you got a daughter?
Here.
My daughter and I have a very special relationship. And she kids me. She's like, hopefully you won't be dating someone my age. So my daughter knows who I am. She accepts that. And I accept her. And she makes her own decisions. She tells me she's a virgin. I have no other proof, so I believe it. But once again, I am not one of those men who will push and press my impressions upon my offspring. Because from my experiments, from Craigslist, I know kids will do a lot of different things. a lot of different things.
What?
That's exactly what our role is as a father, to push our impressions on our kids. We want them to be better versions of us. That's what we supposed to do. What are you talking
All right.
about?
What I'm talking about is, all right, I have some friends right now. They have a 16-year-old daughter. They're good people. She is wild as hell. And it isn't because she doesn't have good parents. It is because of who she is. And this is something that a lot of people cannot, it's like, well, she had bad parents. She could have had the best parents in the world, and she just turned out to be one of those kids. And there are many, many parents out there who have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children that they cannot control, they cannot instill, they can't put anything in them. And this is something a lot of people have a hard problem understanding, because everyone reaches an age where they
This guy just gonna dig
understand
his
what they're
own
doing.
grave, 100%.
And some people reach that age earlier. Some of these kids know exactly what they're doing. They're smoking, they're having sex,
But you
they're
just
doing
said
drugs.
it. You just said it, Glenn. You said they kids.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you, as a grown man, be interested in somebody whose brain isn't scientifically, and you know this for a fact, proven to
100%.
be even developed until their 20s? Why would you take advantage of that as a man that not only is a grown man, you have power, you got resources, you got cars, you got all of this stuff that you know are enticing to children? You call them kids out of your own mouth. Why would you even consider that, bro? Why would you consider talking to a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old? Why would you be having conversations with somebody that looks like they're 15 years old?
First of all, when I got, now there
100%.
was some of them who looked like they were 15, 10 years old. I didn't even talk to them. A lot of these girls did not look
What
their
the
age.
hell is this
They didn't
guy?
look their age. And like what I sent the lead attorney, this came from a 16-year-old girl who looked like she was 20. All kids don't look the same. There are some kids who look like kids.
Oh,
They're 15. They're girls who are
But
undeveloped.
you're still describing them
guy
as
is
kids, Glendon.
disgusting. He just said all kids don't look the same. Oh my gosh. And the fact that he's smirking right now, if you look at the screen, he's smirking right now because he feels like he can't be touched. You see that on the screen right there? If you look there, he's smirking. He just said all kids don't look the same. I needed to highlight this, and the reason why I did this video here is because there are people amongst us who have this mentality hiding in plain sight. And we need to drag them out of their little burrows and show them in the light, because this is not acceptable 100%. These people need to be prosecuted, charged, and receive just penalty for their predatory behavior, in my opinion.
You're calling them kids out of your own mouth.
In this conversation,
then you-
I'm saying they're kids.
But then you
Hold on,
had
wait,
sex with them.
No, I did not have sex with any children.
Oh, so I'm sorry. At what age do you define a girl to not be a kid anymore?
That's a really interesting question, because there could be someone who could be 18 who could still be a kid, very much childish, very much immature. There could be someone who could be 16, like the one who was 17 that I was messing with. She had her own place, her own car, and a job. I did not know she was 17.
Glendon, you literally advised guys to stay. You said you found a 17-year-old out of your own mouth, word for word. You started doing research on her on social media. You noticed in some pictures that her parents were around and that she
That
had a
was a different
strong
girl.
family.
That was a different
It's
girl.
it's a different girl. And she had
And
a
I didn't
strong
mess with that
family
girl.
structure.
I didn't mess
But you
with that
said
girl.
that you knew she was 17 and you did research on her and you found out that she had a strong family structure because she was taking pictures with her parents. And that's one of the things that you decided that prompted you to leave her alone. That is predator. You're hunting. That is predator behavior, bro.
100%.
That is literally the definition of a predator.
Leaving her alone is a predator. I mean, I want you to
But
listen
you
to what
only
her
left
mouth.
her alone because she had a strong father
She
and mother
had
in the picture with her.
support. She had
Dude,
family that was
You don't
going to
know how
jack you
predators
up if they
operate,
found out
and
that
that's
you
a
was doing what you
very
was doing.
strong word. Predators.
Why don't you
predators-
talk to us a little bit? What's your definition of a predator? How do predators move? Because I will be honest, it does sound like when you're saying, "Hey guys, the ones that are close to their parents, those aren't the ones you want." When you say, "Oh well, I was doing research on this girl, or I was doing research on that girl," it does kind of to do research on a girl. It does sound a little bit predatorish, but you have been steadfast in saying that that's not a predator. Kind of how do you define a predator, and how do you identify a predator's moves?
I will define a predator. I used to work at Scottish Rite, and I have seen some of those pictures you have seen of the forcible rape. I've seen that. We had this 8-year-old girl come in who was raped by her father. To me, that is predator behavior. Rape, they don't care. And also, we work with social work.
So if
Predators.
it's forcible, you're
Well,
kind of
no. Let me go with it.
okay.
Forcible is actually worst case scenario. And when you hang out at schools, when you go to arcades, when you're looking for young girls, and this is the thing, I never did that. They came to me. That was
Based off of an ad that you put out. You
Right.
literally put the ad out. They didn't just see you walking down the street and you just turned them down. You
This is
took out
crazy.
an ad. What are you talking about?
I took out several ads.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that makes it greater. Jesus
What
Christ.
in the... Guys, how is it possible in 2021 that this guy, Glendon Cameron, is allowed to say all of this right on YouTube, and he has a smirk on his face? In this interview alone, he said that 15, 16, 17-year-old women, girls, could be predators. He said a 16-year-old could be developed. And he also said the young girls came to him and he put ads out on Craigslist with some system that he created. What are we even talking about here? And I am doing this episode in this video here because this is a public service announcement to not be quiet and stand by if you see anybody behaving this way and doing things like this in your neighborhood. You got to speak up against people like this, even if they have money, power, and resources. This is not acceptable in any form or fashion. And continue with the video.
All right. So
honestly, Glenn, man to man, just listen. Do you don't see anything that don't make sense in this conversation? Honestly.
Well, nothing's in this conversation is going to make sense to you because of the way that you think.
No, I'm asking you personally. I know what makes sense to me. I'm asking you, do you, like, when you go to sleep at night and you think about the video that you put out, or forget the video, the behavior that do you go to bed with a clear conscience, like, you know what, everything is on the up and up, everything is good. None of this bothers you at all whatsoever.
Good question.
I will say the person that I was 20 years ago, no, it doesn't bother me at all.
Oh my Lord.
There's more, and there will be more stuff on that channel. But one of the things
trying to pump the channel.
I was having these experiences, and it wasn't like that many. It wasn't like 20, 30. It wasn't that many. I was in a different state of mind back then, and I was doing, as the elite attorney said, all kinds of shit. So I never forced anyone to do anything. I never took any advantage. I never lied to anyone.
I never took advantage,
my
he
conscience
says.
is clear. I never forced myself on anyone, and I gave them options to leave, and they didn't leave.
They were
So no,
underdeveloped.
I don't.
You literally
hold on,
said,
wait, hold on.
Jesus
Now let's talk
Christ,
about this. Let's
Lead.
talk about the second.
Lead, I need a break, bro.
Hold on,
Honestly,
hold on.
I need a
Let's-
break, bro.
Let's talk about the second incident where you were talking about you were kind of propositioned to be a bull, right? Which is a huge thing in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys, of course, you know, Glendon, but a lot of the people in the chat that don't know, if you know, if you're a black guy and you're 6 foot, you could absolutely be hunted in Atlanta. And you know, some nice white woman, 44 years old, will come up to you and say, "Hey, you know, do you want to come over and get in the hot tub?" And you know, she's there with her husband, so you think it's all good. Go over to their house and see what happens. Right? It will.
Yes.
It will be a.
There's
It will
a
be
whole
a mess.
community of that. There's a whole community.
Exactly. There's a whole community of poly in Atlanta, whole community of swingers. And Atlanta is for real, right? And so you talked about this one. And listen, you know, it seems like between the consenting adults, there's no problem with it. Everybody go to town in Atlanta, fine. You mentioned
Between
this
consenting
one
adults
where you were interacting with a mother who had a 16 and 17-year-old, and the mother was sending you photos of the 16 and 17-year-old, and so you went over there, so you went over there and basically you know, the mother pulled out your penis and started sucking it, and then had the daughters suck it. And you know, a lot of people were like, damn, because even though the 16 and the 17-year-old are over 15, right? It's still a crime.
Absolutely,
both you and
100%.
the mother are committing crimes in that instance because the children are under 18. And they're not as harsh as the child exploitation crimes. But you know, they're still children under the law. They're called minor children. And now you kind of clarified this and you changed it in the second video, but we're going to talk about that. But in the first video, when you were saying that, you know, you guys were all having sex in the same room, you know, what hit me is, number one, the mother needs to be in jail, first of all, I can't imagine a mother taking your penis out of her mouth and then putting into her 16-year-old daughter's mouth. That's outrageous. And I've represented children who had some shitty mothers, and that is a shitty mother. Number
100%.
one. If she has sexual fantasies and pleasure, that's fine. She does not need to involve her kids. Number two,
agree.
all the guys were like, where in the hell is the father? Right?
Absolutely.
And I see so much where women are just given primary physical custody of these kids, and the fathers only get to see their kids every other weekend. And I'm, again, as Anton said, as Blind Guy, his wife, their life said, I'm not a father, but I cannot imagine if I fought to get 50-50 custody and that judge denied me and said, no, this is the mother. And then that mother has my 16-year-old and 17-year-old sucking random dick. Oh, I mean, as a non-father, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
right?
father might go and take a penitentiary chance.
To
And
talk
just
about
saying.
how the 16 and 17-year-old were virgins, and how the 16-year-old was saying that it hurt. Like, it hurt. And the mom was like, oh, you know, we're going to open up that pussy. A crazy story. Now, in the second video,
and I haven't heard this story yet.
In the second video, you said, well, actually, they weren't 16 and 17, both of which are crimes, right? And not only for you, but also for the mom.
So he redacted it and
they were 18
it.
and 19, which takes them out of the minor child category. So now it's all game, right? But, you know, I want to ask you as a man, because I typically review celebrities who make really risky decisions, sometimes bad decisions. To be a man of your stature and to have so much, to go to a random house where you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know if anybody's waiting in the closet for you. You don't know if these white women are going to scream rape. You know, how is it that a man of your stature can participate in such risky behavior?
Well, first of all, that's not something I would do today. So I do get your point.
That don't make it no better.
Today. 20 years ago, it was a different time. Now that I think about it, nothing ever happened for me doing these escapades. Nothing ever happened. But thinking about it, it could have, because I did this. I would show up at their house and things went well for me, but they could have been bad. I feel like I have a guardian angel.
Insane, guys.
I did a lot of stuff. Like 20 years ago, I was a different person than I am today. And like today, I have so much to lose. I would never do anything like that. I wouldn't. And, you know, it's changed because, you know, I'm not going to get into it on this show, but there's a lot more that went down. Way more. And, you know, the folks who were watching The Disruptive Male know about some of these things. So I feel that as I got older, because there was some other stuff that happened that kind of changed my behavior. I didn't get in trouble or nothing. It's just, I will share this. And
Were these negative things? Because it might help to share. Because
no, I want to share.
Okay, because we have a lot of 25-year-old, 27-year-old black men in the chat. Some of whom really follow you, and they're looking at me. They're looking at you. They're looking at Anton for guidance, because a lot of these young men, you know, didn't grow up with fathers in the home.
They don't need
so it's helpful to talk about some of the negative things that have helped.
Let me just pause it right here. You can listen to Anton, you can listen to the lead attorney, and you could take Glendon Cameron as an example of how not to behave with women. Any young men who are seeking advice and seeking counsel, do not engage in the behavior that Glendon Cameron is putting down when it comes to interacting with women, because it will put you underneath the jail. I can't even believe some of the stories that I'm hearing that he's talking about and what he did. Even if it was 20 years ago, that don't make it no better. You were an adult and you know you were interacting with children, literally children. I can't believe what I'm hearing right now, live on YouTube. Guys, we got to do better than this. We got to do better than this. And we got to call out anytime we see something like this in the public light. This does not stand. It has never been something that's acceptable in any form or fashion, and it will not stand here today, not ever. As long as I'm around, I'm going to speak up when I see crazy people abusing others, abusing innocent children right here in the 21st century. What are we even talking about here?
Shape the man that you say you are now, right? And not just give him all the crazy stories, but also some of the risks.
This is one, I'm going to bring it on the channel the other night, but one married woman I was messing with, her husband went to her phone, he got my address, and he showed up in my house with a gun. He wanted to shoot me. And I invited him in and I poured him a drink and we sit down to discuss his wife. Craziest thing that ever happened. And that didn't actually stop me. It just kind of, because, you know, he left, he didn't shoot me. But now looking back, I was like, that was crazy as hell. Like, once again, I was such a different person 20 years ago.
Were you on drugs back then, or how is it? Like, how old were you back then?
20 years ago, I was 34.
Jesus Christ.
So he was 34 this whole time when he's doing this stuff with these younger people.
It was just, you mentioned the swingers, and I was part of that lifestyle. And that's a very compelling, it sucks you in. And I actually had to take a year off where I just didn't have sex, didn't engage with anyone to calm down, because I felt that I was getting out of control. So that's one of the things that happened. And this may sound really dark, but I had one of these chicks fall in love with me, and she got hurt really, really bad. And that's one of the things that got me to thinking about changing my ways. So
how old was she?
42.
How did she get hurt?
Same thing. Ads. I mean, guys, if I could just, man,
He's like
all right.
smirking and grinning
I
about
had every
this.
man's dream. The ability to, because I had some ads, like this is direct response marketing. I had ads that performed really well, and I weeded out the ads that didn't perform well.
This dude is disgusting.
I would run ads every day. It took me about 15 minutes, and I would have 20 to 30 women respond to these ads every night. And then I would go through. It's like, no, I like her. I like her. And this was my life for 10 years. And it got very addictive. It got very self-indulgent.
That's every man's dream.
Yeah, that's
Every
not
man
mine.
except Anton Daniels. Yeah. I mean,
Nope,
like,
not mine.
I don't
either.
think every man runs ads in order to be able to reach out and get women.
Nope.
well,
No.
I would say I would agree with you that because
Don't need to do it.
I know that you don't appreciate it because when running ads to sell physical merchandise and running ads to get women, they're roughly the same. So it's a skill set. But every man's dream, most heterosexual men want to have a lot of unlimited sex with no restraints, no requirements. That's most men's dream. There are some men who meet a one woman, get married, have a beautiful relationship. That's a beautiful thing. But the average dude wants to have as much sex as possible. That much I'm sure of.
Glendon, can I ask you a question? I'm genuinely curious. Because it seems as though looking at your videos and going through your very, very, very detailed sexual experiences with these teenagers, so to speak, right? It seems as though you base your moral compass as far as how young a girl should be. And you admittedly said that the only difference between you and R. Kelly is you didn't have other people going out to get the girls for you. That's word for word exactly what you said. The only difference between you and R. Kelly is that you didn't have girls going with him. And you said that you wasn't as big as R. Kelly. That's A, right? But B, you justify the behavior by saying that it's legal, or you felt that it was legal or whatever, right? That the minimum age in which you can have sex with a girl is 16, right? Do you base your decisions as to who it is, because you said you like young girls, who it is that you want to have sex with based off of what the law says and not necessarily based off of your own decisions as to how old or how young they should be?
All right. Once again, this video was an experiment. Let me say that again.
Here he goes with the experiment bullshit again.
The video was titled, I Could Have Been Like R. Kelly. I could have been a predator. I mean,
could have.
If I had true R. Kelly energy, there would be about 500 teenage girls fucked at the moment. And I didn't do it because I like girls with titties. I like ass. And a lot of these girls, they were young and they were undeveloped and they didn't appeal to me. So, once again, because I work with
this guy's digging himself such a hole.
That a lot
What's Scottish Rite?
Scottish Rite is a children's hospital.
It's a hospital down here.
And we had social workers, and we would have children come in who were raped, molested, and all this other stuff. And pedophiles don't change behavior. They are who they are. And I never actually dove into like this one girl. She said she was 16, but she must have been like 10 years old. And I'm just like, why are you on here?
10 years old?
Me? You should be playing with dolls and stuff. So I did not base my acceptance on age. I based my acceptance on, was she hot? Did she look a certain way? And most of these high school girls were not hot. They didn't look a certain way. They had braces and all this other stuff. So typically, I would say the medium age for the women that I engaged off Craigslist was about 28 to 32. That's where the bulk of them were. So I wasn't like hunting down children and
100% Tam. He told you who he is.
In that video, it was an experiment, and we will see how it goes because a lot of people got outraged. I have people leaving comments on all of my channels, and it's just wow.
You didn't answer the question, Glendon. I said, do you determine how young the girl is as far as what?
I did answer your question. I said age has nothing to do with it. I don't go after girls who are young.
But you
that contradicts everything you just said in this conversation.
Wait, come on now. You just said that you don't go after
Come on,
girls who are
Lee.
young,
I
but
don't go after teenagers. Let's put it that way. I do like young women, 28 to about 35. Yes, I do. Guilty.
You literally described in detail how you love young girls. You word for word. I love young pussy.
Once again,
Hold on,
that
wait.
video was
You
an
went into how
experiment.
perky 17-year-old girls' tits were. You described in detail.
Yes, I
in
did. In the
grave
video, that
detail,
was an experiment.
how awesome it was. And then when you found out her age and you found out she was still 17 and she wasn't 18 yet, you kept going. You admittedly said, I love young girls, word for word.
Oh my God.
That's what you said. Was it a lie? Because if it is, then you told it.
and to be clear, you did say that the video was an experiment, but you also said in that experiment everything was true except for the ages that you changed. But you didn't say, when I said I love young girls or I love young pussy or that whatever, you didn't say that.
I do like young women. 28 to 32.
This dude is
I am 54 years
contradicting
old.
himself left and right.
Like
Goodness
teenagers,
gracious.
one of the things is you can't really talk to a teenager. They don't have no life experience.
But you were
Here's
talking
the
to
thing, 'cause
teenagers.
You described R. Kelly's appetite. And, I thank you for this because you said in that video, you said the normal man
Anton
does
is
not
flabbergasted.
have that appetite.
Me too.
And I think that's something that a lot of women need to hear, right? We're not going to cast, what's going on in the kink community to all men, right?
No.
But-
what R.
but-
Kelly did,
Wait,
most men can't get with that.
Right. But what you did say is that you kind of have that appetite. And you said, and this is a quote, there is something special about fucking a young girl that doesn't have a lot of miles on her. Now, and this is not a shot at any 28-year-olds. 28-year-olds in Atlanta got a lot of miles on them, right? That's not a shot. It's not a shot, but it's true. It's true.
This is
Let's
crazy,
be honest,
yo.
Glendon. When
I will share some with you. Share
Okay.
some with you. I managed to meet 4 millionaires through these ads, and I managed to meet many women who were 20-something to 30-something that didn't have a lot of miles on them. Because, it was crazy because I was like, you're 32 and you've only been with 3 men? It is crazy. So during these exploits, if you will, I learned a whole bunch about women, and that's one of the reasons I feel that the Disruptive Male channel was so.
Here he goes plugging this damn channel.
It was so.
This guy is a piece of crap,
impactful.
guys.
And once again, I
Holy
deleted
crap.
those channels, but I didn't put them up. But I never talked about this stuff. And once again, it's just an experiment. We will see how bad it goes because, like I think, part of it is it didn't go as big as I thought it would.
People are alleging that you are a child predator, and he keeps talking about an experiment.
Put out content just to see how people react, and
This is strange.
We will see because I also have my own platform, the disruptivemale.org, and there is none of this stuff on this training platform. None of this stuff. So this is the first time in 12 years I even talked about it. Which, if it was a habit or a pattern, I think it would have came out long before now.
Let me ask you. You said that this experiment didn't go as well as planned. So, what would you have changed in your first video to make it go as well as planned?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that because one of the things I'm going to do is not do content like that anymore. And I'm going to, because one of the things I learned is that when you tell a story, you got to tell the story the correct way. And I did a poor job of telling that story because I didn't talk about this was 20 years ago. I didn't talk about none of that stuff. So that's one of the things I learned. I probably will not repeat this experiment. There's just no point because it did what it did. And I will just try some other experiments.
What?
So I would not redo this when
There's people. He has
makes no
100,000
sense.
subscribers on
Wouldn't do
YouTube,
it.
guys. 100,000.
Glendon, you don't think that you being a platform, having a large voice and a platform and a content creator, that you need to be more responsible for how you affect other people, negative or positive?
I do feel overall that I have a very positive impact on people. And every now and then I will take a risk, and this was a risk. So overall, the majority of the content I put out is helpful, useful, and mundane. So this is one of the reasons that, much to a lot of people's irritation, that so many people rock with me, because I've literally helped thousands of people start businesses. And you know,
but you know, character without morals or principles, money doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you more of
Absolutely.
what you already are.
100%.
yeah, money's an amplifier. I agree 100% with that. And once again, I've done crazier stuff than this, and this is what's wow. This is just the first one that hit like this. I've done crazier stuff than this, not with little girls, but just business and videos and content.
So is it fair to say this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, though, Glendon? Like, for example, like you admitted to sleeping with the 17-year-old and all of this other type of stuff. I'm assuming that you've slept with more than just that one 17-year-old, right?
No, it is not the tip of the iceberg. Typically,
Yeah, this dude gonna need a lawyer.
I
100%.
don't say exceptions, because most of the high school girls were young and immature and they had no appeal to me. So, like I said, the majority
You might
of the
be
women
right,
that I had
Sandy.
these escapades
He's using this as advertising.
between
It's
28
disgusting.
and 32.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that that was the only high school girl that you ever slept with, though, Glendon. I mean, if we're gonna keep it 100, then keep it 100.
We can keep it 100.
Like, we here now.
That actually, I think that is, because the two girls with the mother were in college. So,
Glendon,
yeah.
you went into grave detail. You have a really good memory. You went through.
Well,
and
no.
So now
he's
trying
trying to
say,
backtrack.
you know what? I don't know.
No. I'm a great storyteller.
Oh my Lord.
Because when you can tell a story that moves people the way that this did, and it wasn't true, I'm a great storyteller. And I need to get back to telling more stories.
This guy is a
Because
Wait,
you're 100%.
this guy's an elite asshole.
No. I'm honest.
He's
I
an
want some
elite
clarity.
asshole.
I'm genuinely looking for clarity because I feel like I'm being bamboozled, right? Are you telling me the 17-year-old is the only high school girl you've ever slept with in your entire life as an adult?
Yes.
This dude's capping. He
But
is
once
capping.
again, I'm a great storyteller because, first of all, a lot of the stuff in that was embellished a little bit.
Why would you
what I
embellish
did was
that?
marry some real experiences with some embellishment. And I'm just sitting here like, I realized that I could tell a totally fictitious story and it'd be believed.
Oh my God.
You said everything in there was true, though, Glendon. You said everything that you said
It was true, but the ages were not true.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
But the 17-year-old age was true.
Yes, I did not know.
And the 15-year-old age was true.
The one I didn't mess with. The one that
you got pictures from. That was true.
Yeah. And once I found out she was 15, I deleted the pictures and I stopped talking to her. Look, I'm in Georgia. And
What the hell that got to do with anything?
I know that just talking to some of these girls could put me in jail. This I knew. And that's once I found out how old they was, I just stopped talking and deleted the pictures and removed them from my computer and kept it moving. There are many people who say I'm a pedophile, which is kind of interesting because if they knew the true definition of pedophile, pedophiles don't change. They don't date older women.
But you do identify with R. Kelly, and you said that the only difference between you and him was that he had people go out and get his girls for him.
Once again, that was part of the embellishment of the video.
Oh my gosh.
But then you said that everything in the video was true except for the other girls' ages.
R. Kelly is beyond kinky. And I will say I have some of that energy because some of the things I participated in, I'm not going to get into it here. was just kind of wild. It was kind of wild. And R. Kelly was doing the wildest things. But
What
I
else
did
does
not
the
have
police
this
need?
passion that R. Kelly had for young girls. I didn't have that.
So you saying that you was lying in the video?
I just told you I embellished. If you want to use lie, embellish. I lied about their ages, and I added more character and effect. And this is something else that you guys don't know about me. I used to be a writer, and I've written some crazy stories. So I'm going to get back to more storytelling.
He's using this as
Listen,
a commercial,
I guess, and
an
you know, as
advertisement.
a new content creator, or relatively new content creator, especially as compared to you guys, how is it that you can make videos where you say that you embellish, and then you turn around and make another video and expect people to believe what you're saying in the next video?
Well, this is one of the things, because this is something I don't do all of the time. This is actually the first time I've done this. And one of the things that I've learned is, and you guys have learned this too, that people on YouTube have very short memories. You could do one thing one month and next month do something totally different. And most people will just go with it. So I don't do this often. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, and we will see what the results are in 6 months. But
If you had it all over to do again, knowing how this turned out, would you run this same experiment?
probably not.
Why
Probably
not?
The only smart thing he said this entire time.
Well, one of the things is, let me think about that. I consider the failed experiment. So knowing what I know now, I would not repeat this experiment.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't
Why
do
is
what I
that?
wanted to do.
That's what I guess I'm asking though. Like, how would you change it to make it do what you wanted it to do? Would you make it more polarizing?
I would not do it all over again. I wouldn't make it polarizing. Because one of the things I learned when you run an
No, but
experiment,
not that you would do it again. Just, you know, hypothetically, for this video to do what you wanted it to do, what would you change? Not that you're going to do it again, but just hypothetically, what would you change in that first video to make it do what you wanted it to do?
I wouldn't even consider redoing the video, even from a hypothetical standpoint. Because once I get real data and I have real data to look at,
This
that's how I
guy
make
is
my
a
decisions. So I wouldn't
quack.
even hypothetically consider redoing this video.
Do you have anybody in your inner circle? I got a lot of people around me, including my wife, that always hold me accountable. When she see me going off the deep end on something, she like, hold on, Anton, let's think about this for a second. Do you have anybody close to you that you
Yes.
rely on as a part of your network? And they say, yo, Glendon, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I agree,
I
Kelly
have-
Jonas, and that's why I'm speaking up about this.
if you would call that. But I don't typically run my business moves across or in front of my counsel. So, you know, I've had a few friends who.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about the decisions that you make in your everyday life. I don't care about the business aspect of it. We both successful. We both cut from different cloths, clearly. I'll give you that part, right? But as far as how we move in our everyday life, you don't have nobody that you glean from or you keep close to you, and it's like, you know what? Hold on, Glendon, man. Maybe that's wrong or maybe that's right. You don't have nobody next to you that holds you accountable?
Obviously not.
My everyday life is pretty damn boring. So I've got some people I talk to, but I don't typically run my YouTube decision makings across other people. So for YouTube and business,
No, not YouTube. I consider YouTube business. I'm talking about like just life outside of the camera.
Yeah,
What do
there's a
you
few
base?
people.
What do you base your morals and your characters and your character and your ethics off of? If you have nothing to compare it to, how do you determine whether or not you're right or wrong, or you making a right or wrong decisions?
Once
Good
again,
question.
I'm a risk taker. I will take some risk and, you know, just deal with the consequences. But typically, from a morality standpoint, I don't really do a lot that's immoral. If anything, I live a pretty boring life at the moment.
What
I'm
the
done, T.O.
hell?
You know what I think.
Well, let's do this, and I want to thank you guys for giving me all of this time. If I had to pay for this time, this would have been thousands of dollars. So I really appreciate you guys coming on. Let me get your closing thoughts, Anton, and then I'll give the last word to Glendon.
My closing thoughts is that Glendon is absolutely the what would I say? The poster child of what you don't want to become when you become rich.
Mm-hmm.
When you get money, when you get resources, it does not make you a better person. And I think that for far too long, the good people, the very, very good people, have stood back and remained silent when it comes to those that do things that are morally bankrupt and go about doing things, and they think that money is the thing that validate them, or numbers or subscribers or visibility or whatever, and they can run any kind of experiment with no kind of accountability of how they affecting other people. I think that with more power comes more responsibility, and that for far too long, good people are being too quiet. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so vocal when it comes to making sure that you align with people of good character. When I live my life like an open book, I put that on a platform because I want people to see an example of what it is that you can do when you do things the right way. You ain't got to cut no corners. You ain't got to do nobody wrong. You ain't got to take advantage of nobody. You don't have to sleep with people that's underage or in my personal opinion, not as it relates to the eyes of the law, right? But as it relates to just doing the right thing when nobody else is looking. And I think that Glendon is so confident, and he's been getting away with doing what he want to do for so long, and he's so brazen in how he moves that he feels like he's untouchable. But I'm just going to tell you, Glendon, one day, honestly, and this is just my personal opinion, one day, I don't know if it's going to be the last day you on this earth. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. One day, you're going to have to be accountable for the things that you did on this earth. You gonna have to be accountable. You gonna have to own every little girl that you slept with. It's gonna come back to you. And I just pray. I pray, honestly. I fell on my knees. I told my followers this morning, I said, I prayed for you. I genuinely petitioned God on your behalf. And I said, show this man himself. Help him to understand how he can do things differently. And in some way, shape, or form, bless him to use his platform to actually pour into this world instead of leaving it worse as a result of him being here. Man, you got to do better. You got to do better. We have a platform, and that comes with more responsibility. People look up to you. They love you. They support you. They rock with you. And I truly believe that you can do the right thing. But as of right now, if you continue on the path that you're doing, it's just leading to more destruction of more people, and you're going to have to account for that one day. That's it. That's all I got, bro.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anton. Really appreciate it.
And I'm gonna give my closing thoughts on this situation as well. That was well put by Anton there, and I couldn't have said it better. Literally, if we don't speak up when we see people behaving in a way like Glendon Cameron showed through that interview and his actions and what he admitted that he engaged in, then I would myself be being a hypocrite. I'm going to call things out like that when I see it. And I think more so than anything, it is very important for Black men to speak up when we see other Black men behaving in that manner, or any men or any person for that matter. Because if we don't do that, we become part of the problem. I think this has been an important conversation. I think there is a lot to be learned through what Glendon Cameron and what his mentality says about some people that are out here. Protect your family, protect your daughters. Make sure that you're raising them to have values and to be able to discern and to be able to adhere to that background and that what they've learned growing up, and hopefully they could discern and be able to evade predators like this. And that's not to blame the victims in any way. If you're a victim of something like this, I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm sorry that you had to encounter somebody like this. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to mitigate risk, and we're trying to make sure that we provide the foundation in the lives of people to make sure that when they do come around somebody like this, they can spot it quickly and get away without being harmed. Hopefully, that's what we can hope. So, yeah, this has been a heavy episode, and all of my content isn't like this, but I thought this was an important conversation to have. I appreciate you guys for sticking around and for listening. And if you haven't done so already, please like the video for the YouTube algorithm so other people can get this information and figure out what's going on here. If this helps one person, then it got what I intended to get across with in this video. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell as well to make sure that you get notification anytime I drop some content. And like I say every time, love somebody, hug somebody, do something good for someone, not expecting anything in return. And this has been another episode of the Karat Juice Podcast. I will speak to you guys next week, Tuesday. Be well and take care of yourselves and stay safe. Peace.